Hello, is this YouTube? Hey, hey guys, how's it going? A little bit rough today, still, but I set myself aside like an hour just to do something productive before I go back to bed. Um, but yeah, anyway, so I had a subscriber recently ask about a Decapitator. Is the 23 hot cold better than the Decapitator for drums? So I thought let's do a little comparison video of the three saturators that I most often use, the 23 hot cold, the Decapitator, and the Multipass to use multiband saturation. And we'll test out these three plugins across three different drum beats, and you'll see like the sort of subtle differences between the saturations, you know. So I've got these are all beats that I've created. Little homage beat, little jungle beat, and a sick beat. And I've put them all in a group, and then we have the three plugins to play with here, right? So let's first do the Decapitator. So what you'll notice already when I turn the Decapitator on, let's start with the homage beat. You hear how the kick drum already distorts. Okay, that's the problem. That's why I don't really ever use the Decapitator on drums. So it's not even up that high. If I try the different modes. I could use it a small amount. I can get away with like, yeah, just over 1.4, about 1.4. But let's compare that to the 23 hot cold, for example. Going up around 35% on the hot and cold. Go back to the Decapitator. 23 hot cold's still a fair bit louder, you know, and maybe I could even go more. Kind of getting to the edge of the distortion there. But yeah, as you see with the Decapitator, definitely getting noticeable distortion around 2 on the drive here, and on the hot cold I feel like I'm still actually louder and I haven't distorted yet either. So the hot cold is definitely winning on that break. Okay, when we check in the multipass as well, so this is with the multipass it's good because we can saturate just the high end only, you know, because it's the low end, the kick drum that'll break first, you know. So we can try with the multipass. So it's quite nice. So let's compare that, because I already know the 23 hot cold does a better job than the Decapitator on these drums, right? So if we compare with the, we kind of have a similar overall like perception of loudness, but it's just doing the high end. So it's basically just brightness boosting, you know. If I were to do the whole use the multipass and you know, go all the way down, I don't know if it'll let me go all the way down. Maybe it will actually, yeah. Not distorting too much. If you compare that, I feel like the dynamics are just a lot better still with the 23 hot cold. Like it doesn't, it keeps the punch of the low end like really, really well. So yeah, as you can kind of guess, then the 23 hot cold is actually sort of the best option on those drums for me, in my opinion, anyway. So we can look on another beat, like the jungle beat here. This one we can try with the Decapitator again. This beat doesn't have much of a powerful kick. It's quite like a, yeah, it's not, the kick's not so loud and doesn't have so much low end in. So you can kind of get away with, you can get away with a bit more of the Decapitator before it distorts. So we're up to sort of 2 on the drive. But now if we go to the hot cold, for example, So that's quite a nice balance. So let's compare those two. Yeah, it's more. It's still it's still giving you a cleaner signal in the low end, the 23 hot cold, you know. So I love this kind of when the free plugin is the best quality one, you know. That's why I wanted to do this video, really, because I find it quite funny, you know, that the plugin that's free is the best sounding one. I mean, it's good, right? It's good for all of us on a budget. So yeah, let's do with the multipass again here. So the multipass against the hot cold, it's quite a close one, but it is more tinny a little bit because we're only doing the high end, you know. So again, I'll try and bring it down. But yeah, again, it doesn't quite give you that clean signal in the low end though either. So again, the multipass, like, it's kind of a thing that I always use just to saturate the high end. So then basically you're getting extra brightness, but you're not getting the added benefit of what the hot cold does for the low end. So again, the hot cold is basically winning again, and it's going to win the last one as well. I mean, we can quickly go over it, but the sick beat here. Again, the Decapitator really just distorts that kick drum quickly. And remember, this is only on drums, you know. Other sounds, you might find the Decapitator will do a better job and give you nicer harmonics, you know, on lead. Like I like the Decapitator for sounds that are more mid-range and high-end, like vocals, leads and stuff like that. Also with low-end on the basses, have to be careful with the Decapitator as well. But yeah, you can clearly hear that's distorting quite quickly. And again, the hot cold does a really good job of keeping the low end clean, even while it's boosting the volume. Okay, multipass again. So on this one, the multipass does sound really nice as well. If we compare it, here you have a bit of a, you could sort of pick which vibe you want. On this beat, the multipass does quite a good job of giving a lot of high-end energy, you know, and it sounds quite nice. It leaves the low end as it is, but the high-end energy is not, has a nice character. Here, the hot cold doesn't quite give you as much of that rushing high-end cymbal energy, but it's cleaner and a bit more dynamic and a bit more powerful in the low end again. So again, I'd still prefer to use the hot cold because the dynamics and the low end punch and power are for me still more important than anything else. Because the high end energy, you can sort of do that. You can always get a bit more. I could put the multipass on as well afterwards. You know, I could do the hot cold and then the multipass in the high end and just dial it back a lot. Yeah, so maybe have a little bit of both. Could also work, you know, to do a bit of both if I really want to. Okay, so that's quite nice. It's quite a nice blend as well if I want that extra high-end energy on the processing. But realistically, I think the beat still sounded good just with the hot cold anyway. So for me, I probably would have just gone with that one anyway and not worried about saturating the high end for that processing on that drum beat, you know. But yeah, it's a funny video because yeah, it's funny how the hot cold is kind of just the best one in my opinion for definitely for drums. Now I have used it on basses and stuff and it hasn't been quite as good on that. I don't know why, it just seems to react quite well on drum beats. So yes, long story short, although I love all of these plugins and I use them for different purposes, when it comes to like processing a whole drum bus, the 23 hot cold seems to win the majority of the time for me as like a general multi-purpose drum processing saturation, you know. And it's just quite nice because yeah, it's quite nice because of what it does in the low end. It brings you up that low end power, punch, dynamism and volume in a clean way, you know. So that's my winner for this kind of job, you know. But like I said before, multipass is great. Can, you know, really give you a nice high-end boost if you just want to saturate the highs. That's great for that. So definitely still use that on basses and leads and vocals and stuff for sure in my projects. And also the Decapitator, I do still use that sometimes. A little bit less these days, if I'm honest, because it's less of there's less things that I like that it works well on in general, where the multipass, for example, works well on everything really, because you can control the, you know, the dynamic, you can do multiband, you know. So the Decapitator I really only use for sounds which don't have a lot of low end in, so mid-range stabs, leads, vocals, that kind of stuff, you know, maybe bongos, stuff like that. I still think it has a really nice character for you know, for what it does, but it doesn't work so well for me on those sounds that have an important low end in, because I feel like it distorts the low end quite quickly. But yeah, that's my little wrap up for today. Hope you guys found it useful. Sorry if I sound a bit weary, jaded, tired, but I'll be getting back into bed now and having a bit more rest. I'll be okay. I've just got a bit of a virus or something, but we'll get over this and then get back onto the content and keep smashing it. All right, my G's, that's it for me today. Much love. Leave a like and a comment down below. Check out the links in my videos as well, for my Patreon, my preset packs, my one-on-one lessons, and my mastering services. That's it for me today. More from me soon. Much love.